Hey everyone, and welcome to Rare Liquid Careers, where my goal is to help you land your dream job. And this upcoming summer, as many of you know, I'm going to be pursuing an MBA and master's degree at Wharton. And today I wanted to just share a little bit about how I'm going to be preparing for this upcoming journey. So jumping straight into today's agenda, I'll first be going over an overview of my program because I got a lot of details about what the summer will look like for me. I'll then go over my finances because I got a lot of questions about that. I'll then go over my approach to school, and lastly answer some questions I got from all of you on my Instagram. Alright, now jumping straight into it, let me give you an overview of my program. Starting off with a high-level overview, I'm going to be pursuing an MBA and Master's in International Studies through the Lauder program, which is a small cohort of around 70 to 80 people at Wharton, and the normal class at Wharton is around 800 to 900 people. And so it's a nice kind of like home within a larger home within the Wharton community. And I got some details about the actual program and logistics, and I thought it might be interesting to share all of that with you. MBA programs actually usually start around the fall, but as you can see here, I'm starting on June 1st because I'm pursuing this dual degree. And until June 22nd, I have two classes from around 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And those two classes are about my region, which is Korea and Asia. Then from June 27th to July 22nd, I'll be in Seoul, Korea, and I'm not exactly sure what I'll be doing in terms of courses or companies that I meet or anything like that because I haven't received that information yet. But then after a 2-week break, I'll be moving to Philly in early August to start the whole MBA program. Now I know the next logical question is why I'm pursuing an MBA and a dual degree, and I'm gonna actually save that topic for a future video, so if you don't wanna miss that, feel free to subscribe, and also while you're down there, like the video if you're enjoying it so far. Next up, let me go over how much everything will cost and how I plan to pay for everything. Starting with the costs, here's a breakdown of what the master's degree costs, with the first year on the very right and the second year to the left. The upcoming summer will be around $5,000, and then for the rest of the years around $16,200, and so in total, the total cost is estimated to be around $40,000. Next is the MBA program, and I won't be going over all of the costs here because you can just pause to take a look, but to point out some of the big ones, tuition will be around $75,000 per year, and then there's a bunch of expenses Wharton provides guidance for, which I hear is actually a bit understated by $10,000 per year because a lot of extra money is spent on travel and other fun stuff. So for just the MBA, the program will likely be around $125,000 per year when I include things like living expenses and all that other stuff. Looking at our total, the cost is around $250,000 for the MBA program, and then an additional $40,000 for the master's degree, which totals out to a whopping $290,000 over 2 years. So then comes the big question of how in the world I'm gonna pay for all of this. Luckily, I got some help because the Lauder program gave me a $60,000 scholarship, which brings down my cost to $230,000, and I've already paid a $10,000 deposit in order to secure my spot, so that brings me down to a total of $220,000 left. For all the extra miscellaneous expenses you saw earlier, those amount to about $45,000 per year, and so over 2 years that's $90,000, and I'll be covering those just out of pocket by running my business Rare Liquid, which is my main investing channel, and then also this channel, which is my careers channel. And so right now I'm making enough to just cover those expenses, and I probably will see a dip in activity in my ability to just like post videos and things like that, but I still think I'll be able to make enough, and so that brings down the total to $130,000. So for that remaining amount, my plan is for the first year to take out a loan of about $70,000 or so to help cover tuition, and the interest rate is going to be around 4 to 5% and actually starts accumulating when you first take out the loan. And then for my second year, my hope is that Rare Liquid grows enough where I can just pay off the second year out of my own pocket, and so that's really the plan, and that brings everything down to zero. And we'll see if I'm able to, build up my channel while also going to school. I'll definitely be making videos and keep you all updated on this channel and my other channel, Instagram, TikTok, etc. And hopefully everything goes according to plan, but life is just a crazy ride, so we'll see what happens. That's actually a good segue into my next part of the video, which is my approach to school. Typically, people get an MBA degree for 4 main reasons. The first of which is academics, second is clubs, third is career advancement, and fourth is relationships. Out of those four, I really only plan to, as of now, to focus on the last one, which is relationship building. I just want to have that lifelong community for the rest of my life. And it probably also will help with my career advancement in the long term. But as of now, I would probably also add a fifth kind of reason for me, which, just to be completely honest and transparent, and probably it's pretty obvious by now, is that I plan to make a lot of content out of my experience. And I don't think a lot of people make content about their MBA programs. And so I think it will be a unique opportunity for me to just provide a lot of really good, interesting content from my experience. And I have some other plans that I think in total will be able to help me just cover my entire expenses and all of that. And so I think, or even in the next few years, although I think a lot of people might almost criticize me for, spending all this money for this program, I think it would be kind of like a lifelong dream that I've kind of had that I'm able to just kind of check off my list. And also in the long run, I think it's going to be a net positive ROI. I know that's pretty vague, but I promise you that over the course of the next few years, I'll definitely be sharing more of my plans with all of you on this channel. And I also want to add that if anything just happens to not go well, then I will always just have this MBA degree to kind of fall back on with the lifelong community, all the relationships I build. And if I, for some reason, have to just go back into the corporate world, I think having this degree is kind of like a nice safety nest as well. All right, now last up, let me actually answer some of the questions I got from all of you on my Instagram. I'm gonna be looking at my phone here for some of the questions. And so the first one is, what are the subjects you like the most in the study plan? So basically a question about academics. And one thing that I should probably make clear is that MBA programs tend to not have grade disclosure, meaning that you don't need to really care about what your GPA is. And that's designed to really help you focus on all of the other aspects of the MBA program. And so what I really like about MBA programs is that there's not a lot of pressure on studying and, just getting really good grades. And I also studied business when I went to UC Berkeley, went into banking at JP Morgan, also worked on a lot of different types of businesses over the past few years. And so I feel like I have a good grasp of what business really entails. And so for a lot of those classes, I'll kind of just be going through the motions a little bit. And I think the classes I'm most excited for are the electives. I haven't really explored all of them, but one that I think I want to take is something related to CS, maybe like an intro class to non-technical people, because it's something I've always wanted to pick up. And they're just like great professors at Penn who will teach these kind of classes. And so that's what I'm looking forward to in the future for my academics. The second question I got is one about how to write a good essay and kind of tips on that whole application process. And I think for the essay specifically, I really think the most important thing is doing a lot of self-reflection and introspection, really thinking about all of the different important events in your life, starting from high school or even earlier, undergrad, what you pursued there, your jobs, and how to basically creating a narrative from everything that has happened in your life and what you really want to plan or what you really plan to do from getting an MBA and then afterwards, right? And I think that by far is the most important thing. After that, I would highly suggest just giving your essay to a few people who went to the MBA program. If you have the money, get an admissions consultant. I don't really think that it's worth getting those like huge packages, which are like $5,000, $6,000 per school. I did also talk to an admissions consultant for like a few hours, and it was pretty pricey, but it was helpful just getting some information from someone who has gone through the admissions process and has looked over a lot of applications. And so those are my tips for the essay. The next question I got was, is the application process difficult? So kind of just asking what the application process is like and what it takes to get into a top MBA program. And I do cover a bit of that in this video right here, so feel free to check that out if you're interested. But the 5 main things that any admissions committee really looks for is your GMAT score, undergrad GPA, work experience, extracurricular activities, and your letters of recommendation. And as you can kind of tell, it kind of covers a lot of your history. And so it's hard for me to really just say, focus on this one thing and you'll be able to get into a good program. It's really a matter of making sure that you hit all of the kind of like minimum requirements if they have like an average GPA. And if you don't hit that, then get as high of a GMAT score as you can. So it kind of just overpowers your weakness of the undergrad GPA, if that makes sense. And I think in terms of the letters of recommendation, make sure to get someone who doesn't matter what their title is, but focus on someone who really knows you and is able to tell a lot of really great personal stories about you. And then for your work experience, it's really a matter of having really good brands. And I know that can be tough. Not everyone can do it, but if you're not able to do that, then excel in whatever company you work for and try to get those promotions as quickly as you can without like burning yourself out. And, still it's important to have like a good perspective on work-life balance and everything like that. And the last thing for extracurricular activities, I'd say it's kind of like not that important. It's kind of a nice add-on if you have anything. So that kind of covers the application process. The next question is, can you be employed while studying there? And I'll kind of loop this in with another question I got about, can you kind of be working on Rare Liquid at the same time? And you cannot actually be full-time employed while going through a full-time MBA program because your classes are in the mornings and afternoons. It's just not really feasible to do a full-time job while also pursuing this degree. But you can work part-time, which is basically what I plan to do. And I think it's gonna be pretty tough. Like I don't know yet actually what it's gonna be like, but I hear at least for the first 6 to 8 months, it's like a whirlwind of so many things where you're meeting a ton of people and there's like so many activities and events for you to go to. So, as I said earlier on in the video, I'll keep you all updated on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So I'll definitely be sharing real-time updates with what everything is like, but I definitely do plan to keep working on Rare Liquid. That's definitely in my plans, and I think it's a matter of like prioritizing. And so as long as I'm able to focus and prioritize Rare Liquid, then I feel pretty confident that I'll be able to do both. The last question I want to discuss is, what are you most excited about? I thought that was a great question, and I'm honestly pretty excited to, first of all, be back in the States because I've been living in Korea over the past few years. It'll just be nice back to be in the same country as a lot of my friends. And so that's one thing I'm really excited about. Second thing, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, is just all the relationships I'll be building. I really, really value friendships a lot just throughout my life. Just not only for, the MBA can be a lot about professional advancement, but I just think that it's going to be a lot of fun as well. And just being able to create those lifelong bonds like I did in college, something that I'm really looking forward to. And I'm not, when you think about your whole life, you're usually start off in undergrad, you meet a bunch of people, then for the next few years, if you don't go to school or maybe for the rest of your life, you're not in a lot of settings where you're going to be meeting a ton of people who are around your age and have similar goals. And so I think that's what I'm really looking most forward to. One other thing I want to mention is that if you're interested in applying for an MBA program and want to see my application that received admittance to Wharton and also Columbia, feel free to check those out at rareliquidcareers.com. It's down in my description below as well. And I'll also be releasing a podcast episode with an interview of a friend who's studying at Harvard for an MBA degree early next week. So feel free to check that out. It'll be available on wherever you get your podcasts. And with that said, that concludes the entire video. I hope you all found this interesting and helpful, and hope to catch you in the next video. Thanks so much, and peace out.